Welcome back to Two Marks and a Spark. We were supposed to record this Sunday night. I had an entire system crash, and Russ
It's
had family
unfortunate.
stuff. But
Unfortunate.
but I think we're back. I think this thing is working. Is this thing on? I sure hope so.
So far, so
Anyway,
good.
technical issues aside, we're here. We're going to talk about two shows. This is going to be an incredibly long podcast. Buckle in. We got this. So let's start with Saturday night's main event. This show started with a bang. Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker against Sami Zayn and CM Punk. Russ, this Seth Rollins as a heel thing has worked exceedingly well so far.
I would agree.
And it continues to here because they have a very good. This match was only 13 minutes. Fun fact, this was the longest match on the show. The show we're going to talk about after this, every match was excessively longer.
Yeah, I thought this was a well done match.
The finish was really stupid. So the finish comes when Seth is getting beat up by Punk on the outside, and then all of a sudden, a mammoth of a man who you don't notice at first comes flying out of nowhere and just absolutely destroys Punk, puts him through a barricade. Punk is dead.
Yes, dead. There we got Big Bronson Reed.
And Bronson Reed is back well ahead of schedule. He broke his ankle at Survivor Series. He was supposed to be out 9 months to a year. Hasn't been that long. And here he is.
Hasn't even been 6 months since Survivor Series. I don't think it has.
Yeah, it has. It's been like eight.
Well, you
But
see how time flies when you're having fun.
and Bronson Reed is back and he gets this massive pop because people really like Bronson Reed. And
First thing I'm thinking is they're going to have to do a little storyline here because the last time we saw Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins together, they were feuding with each other in a very violent, injury filled feud.
I agree.
So I thought this very interesting that he's a Paul Heyman guy with Seth.
By the way, how much extra do you think they had to give Punk to take that barricade spot
I
at
don't know, but
46 years old?
he sold the hell out of it. He really did.
I hope we get CM Punk versus Bronson Reed at some point.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
I don't know when that would be, but I want Russ. The next match was only 5 minutes.
You talking about the women's United States Championship match?
Yes, this made me mad for several reasons. One, what little we saw of this, because mind you, it was a 5 minute match and they went to commercial for 2 minutes.
Right.
What we saw of this was good,
Yes.
and we've seen it before, and we know how good this match could be. It just feels like they cut these agonizingly short every time.
Yeah.
Zelina retains. I was surprised Zelina retained. I thought they'd just put the belt back on Chelsea, just play it safe, but they didn't do that. It's probably a good thing because I really like Zelina Vega. The
Yeah, I
next
really
match
like them both, and they're both over really well too.
The next match was over even faster. This match, only 4 minutes and 25 seconds. I'm going to spend 30 seconds talking about it because, frankly, it could have been a 30-second match. Cena comes out, does his normal BS entrance, and then Cena's music hits again, and I'm thinking, what the hell's going
Right.
on? Here comes Ron Cena. What the hell is this?
Right.
R-Truth comes out dressed as John Cena. He does John Cena's moves.
Oh, it
He
was hilarious.
he does the five moves of dooms. Gets a 2.9. Cena kicks out. Cena goes for the belt. He's going to hit Truth with it. The ref takes the belt. As the ref has his back turned, handshake, low blow, AA, match over.
That's right.
That was pretty much it.
Well, she wrote. It was over with very quick.
And then we get a
Yeah.
holy shit ton of stalling.
Yeah.
And then it's Damian Priest and Drew
You
McIntyre
get
in a
the
steel cage in The shortest steel cage match I can ever remember.
I don't. I wonder what was the point of it. Now, from what I read, it makes sense that Damian Priest won because Drew McIntyre will be off TV for the foreseeable future because he has a neck problem that they want him to completely heal up. They said he's been working with a bad neck since a few weeks ago. I forget which match, but interesting. I don't know when they bring him back. Are they just going to pick up the feud with Damian Priest again, or is Damian Priest going to have to move on to somebody else now?
I don't know, but I think he should turn heel. Um,
Yeah, I do too.
and at
I
the
mean, he's been very heelish in the way he's wrestled with Drew McIntyre, you know?
I also think he's just a better heel. His gimmick is a heel. He's just playing babyface. I don't understand. And then we get the most underwhelming, underbaked, way too short main event with a stupid finish of all time.
Well, yeah. When I saw how few matches were going to be on this 2 hour show, I thought we were going to get some lengthier matches.
And it would have
You know,
benefited the
how
show.
much time did they spend just introducing wrestlers from the past and celebrities and stuff?
How much time did they spend letting Jesse Ventura talk?
Oh, well, too much in my opinion.
We agree on one thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
I think Jesse the Body Ventura is very, very, very over with himself.
he's very, very, very over with Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah,
Anyway, uh, this match was fine. I don't know what to tell you. If you've seen a Jey Uso match recently, you have seen this match.
right. And Logan Paul, he's got a great. He's doing pretty good. You know, I know people hate him, and I understand why.
I hate him.
And he has, you know, let's put it this way: he's apologized for everything that well, not for everything. No, he apologized. He's one of those guys that apologizes for things when they come up because he has to, right?
He's sorry he got yelled at for it. He's not sorry he did it. Uh, anyway, so this match, again, if you've seen a Jey Uso match recently, you've probably seen this match. Interference when the ref gets pulled out of the ring by Cena. Cena starts beating the balls out of Jey Uso and making him look like a bitch. And then to
Right.
make him even look more like a bitch, here comes Cody Rhodes. Uh,
Yes.
Cody
Big
Rhodes,
pop, big pop for the returning Cody Rhodes. Haven't seen
he,
him since WrestleMania.
he hits one move, it's a crossroads, and then he grabs the mic, and I guess we're getting a tag match. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso against Logan Paul and John Cena, even though
Right,
they've already announced that Gunther was going to be getting a world title match at Money in the Bank.
right,
That match is now going to be at Money in the Bank, which I haven't seen Raw from last night yet, so I don't know if they fixed this, but this is a massive plot hole. How are they going to book themselves out of this? I don't know.
right. Exactly. Well, they've got until what, June the 6th or June 7th. Is
I believe it's
that it?
June 9th.
Yeah, Saturday, June 7th, I think,
It is June 7th. Okay.
is the Money in the Bank. Plus, they have that AAA show right before that.
And their next Saturday night's main event is the night before Evolution. So we have July 12th,
Right.
Saturday night's main event, which
And
is
that
on the
will,
same night as All In, by the way. That is the same night as All In. For anybody who's confused, All In and Saturday night's main event are on the same night. That's counter programming.
definitely they counter programmed NXT against Double or Nothing also. I have no idea how the numbers went, but that's definitely counter programming.
Well, Trick Williams won the TNA title on that NXT show, by the way.
That was a bit of a surprise. I even read some claims that that wasn't supposed to happen, and I always say, "Yeah, right, it wasn't supposed to happen." That's what they want you to think. That's the storyline, is that it wasn't supposed to happen. But, there are some people out there who still don't understand that absolutely everything you see and every word you hear is all a work. Even when it's a shoot, sometimes it's a work.
Okay, Russ, let's talk about the elephant in the room that everybody's probably wondering why we haven't talked about it yet.
Which is,
WrestleMania 42, I think. Next year's WrestleMania. WWE pulled a whole lot of hoodwink and bamboozle and let a stray run amok here. They announced WrestleMania for New Orleans, Louisiana next year.
yes.
That has changed. WrestleMania 42 will be in Las Vegas. Money in the Bank will be in August next year. August 29th will be Money in the Bank next year. That will be now be in New Orleans. So the pay-per-view schedule that we know for next year now looks like this: WrestleMania in Las Vegas, Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and SummerSlam, notably in Minneapolis. And then 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks later, I can't remember, not going to look it up, is New Orleans for Money in the Bank. So what the hell happened?
Yeah. And how did New Orleans lose out on what appeared to have been a winning bid, if you will? How
I have
interesting.
never seen it. Okay, other than like tragedy, uh like natural disaster, security concerns, something extreme. I have never seen WWE move a show that they've announced.
Yeah.
They've canceled shows for different reasons. They
Yeah.
had
As a
a
matter of fact, I understand that we're recording this on Tuesday,
Yep,
and NXT was originally scheduled to be in Tampa, and that show did get canceled because of low ticket sales.
correct.
Now they could pull off 4 shows 4 days in a row in some locations. Apparently, Tampa, though, is not one of them. I mean, I could understand too, if I was a fan, I mean, how many tickets can you buy? How many can you afford? You can't go to every single show.
Right. Well, I don't know why they're going back to Vegas for Mania because I thought the Mania crowd this year was horrendous. Um, Vegas must have paid them a whole lot of money.
Yeah. Which means that Vegas made money when they were there, or they wouldn't want them back. I'm sure Las Vegas benefited from having them in town.
Yeah. How much you want to bet they're going to do a UFC show that same weekend?
Now, that would make sense. That really would, actually, from a
How much you want
corporate
to
point
bet
of
that's
view.
why they're doing this?
It wouldn't
Put your
surprise me. Because
put your
we've
tinfoil.
heard for a while they're going to start coordinating WWE and UFC events together. And
Russ, I want you to put your tinfoil hat on for me.
sure.
We're going to go into conspiracy mode here.
All right. Yes,
WWE
the reptilians are running the wrestling world.
WWE announced WrestleMania in New Orleans will back end negotiating with Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I
Yeah.
firmly believe that they never actually wanted WrestleMania in New Orleans next year.
If I was in New Orleans, I'd feel a little slighted.
I have friends in New Orleans that watch
Oh, hey,
wrestling.
fun town.
Do you know how they feel about this whole deal?
How they feel.
Fuck this company.
Yeah. Don't blame them.
Speaking of fuck this company, I'm about to be saying that a whole lot because we're going to talk about AEW Double or Nothing. Fuck, I hated this show.
Did you see any of the pre-show?
No, Russ, I had paint to watch dry. What happened?
Well, I didn't see all of it. I saw the last. They had Anna Jay and Harley Cameron versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. Anna Jay and Harley Cameron won,
I
but then
actually
they
heard that
had
was a good match for what it's
yeah.
worth.
Then they had the one of these big conglomeration matches. AR Fox, Hologram, Bandito, Commander, and Trent Beretta, Rocky Romero, Action Andretti, Leo Rush, and the baby faces won that one. But that was a little bit of one of those real fast paced lucha style flip flop and fly type of matches those are the kind of matches that are you want to put on the pre-show because it helps get the crowd warmed up and you get to see all of the more mid-card stars that aren't going to be on the main show, but at least it gives them a chance to be on TV. So the pre-show, as pre-shows go, I would give it a B minus.
Well, if only the main show could have been that good. It was
There
not.
you go.
Folks, just remember in the United States, this show costs $50. Remember that as we're going through this. The show started with Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Moné. This was the second best match on the show. And they
I
started
think
with
this is
it.
probably, in my opinion, would be Monet's best match, I think, since she's come to the company. And, she's done a lot of very, to me, kind of lackluster stuff. But the last few matches, it reminds me a little bit of more why Sasha Banks used to get the crowd excited. It seems to be she's clicking more. And I
I
think part
think
of it
some of
is
it,
wrestling with Jamie Hayter, who both of them are good wrestlers. It was an excellent match, possibly the best match on the show, second
people
best.
forget that after Mercedes left WWE, she worked in New Japan for like 7 matches and then was out for a year. So I think some of this last year has just been working the kinks out, finding her
Sure.
actual style.
Yeah.
Because 7 matches is not enough to find your independent style. It's not.
No.
And in
Oh,
WWE, you don't have an independent style.
right.
So she's kind of learning this different style of wrestling because she never worked the indies before she went to WWE. She's kind of learning herself as a wrestler again. And I think that's what some of these issues she's had in AEW have been.
Sure. And I find her wrestling better, and I guess I'm finding her gimmick a lot more tolerable too.
Again, some of this has just been she's kind of working the bugs out with this thing. She's working the rust out. She's working the fact that she never worked anywhere but WWE before now thing out.
Yeah.
A lot of these AEW wrestlers have the luxury of they've worked in 5 or 6 different indie promotions. They've
Right.
been in Japan. They've, you
And
know,
this was the Owen Hart Cup Memorial
final.
Final,
So
and now they've got the match set for All In, correct?
correct. We'll talk
But
about that
that's
in a
not
minute.
for what, another 6 weeks?
Yep.
See, it doesn't make sense to me then, they've got this book this way, but it doesn't make sense to me that you would have a title holder go 6 weeks without defending their title against somebody
They
else.
did say on the show that it is still not set. It is subject to change because Tony is going to defend the title again. Spoiler
Correct.
alert, Tony won her match. Anyway,
Right.
and then we get, I think, FTR's worst match I've ever seen. This is the worst FTR match I've ever seen, Russ.
And this was not even Stokely's fault, you
This was
know?
just bad. So, FTR versus Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. On paper, this looks like it should have been very good. It was not. Um, this was Nigel McGuinness getting beat up for 15 minutes.
They did not give him a chance to look good at all, did they?
Again, I understand this guy works 2 matches a year, but like, let's give him something. And they
Right.
did at the end, but not much. They gave him a hope spot, and that was it. FTR beat the hell out of him. Daniel Garcia gets a hot tag late on. He kind of sparks a rally, doesn't last long.
Yeah, and I really hate to see FTR being used the way they have been in AEW because the hope was when they left WWE where they were so badly used that Tony Khan is going to get it. He's going to understand what FTR is all about. And he's going to use them right. And a couple of times they've almost got there, but I still don't think that they've gotten their due. I think they're a way, way better tag team than they have actually been allowed to be. And that match there was, as an FTR fan, I have to say it was a huge disappointment.
It didn't work. I don't think they'll do it again. I hope not anyway.
Now I don't mind FTR being heel and having Stokely. I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
I like Stokely a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm glad he's
Uh,
getting used,
you
honestly.
remember when he wrestled about a million years ago?
No.
Well, he wrestled a couple of times.
Well,
Unless
speaking of
my memory's
wrestling,
just playing tricks on me, I know I've seen him wrestle before.
well, the first match went 21 minutes and 15 seconds. This match went 22 and a half. The next one was 16 minutes and 20 seconds, and I actually thought this match was pretty good for what it was. It was a stretcher match between Mark Briscoe and Ricochet.
Yes, I liked it.
I thought this was really good for what it was. A stretcher match does limit your quality somewhat,
Sure.
but
But
it,
this
it,
gave Mark Briscoe a chance to shine. Even though he didn't win the match, he gave him a chance to shine a little bit. To do the shtick that he's best known for, the style that him and his brother, did so well. And I enjoyed seeing him. It looked like, as violent a match as it was, it looked like they were actually having fun.
and Ricochet gets the win. Ricochet did need to win this match. Ricochet hadn't won a big match in a while.
I thought it was hilarious though when he took the cleanest solution and was shining his head. That was great.
That was great. Well, after that, we had some stalling, and then we had the Hurt Syndicate defending against Dustin Rhodes and noted shitbag Sammy Guevara.
The Sons of Texas.
More like Dustin Rhodes and a stupid son of a bitch. That's what I call him.
Well, I like Dustin Rhodes a lot, but Sammy, boy, I tell you, Sammy Guevara, how long has he been gone?
Well, he's been in Ring of Honor the whole time.
Well, I don't watch Ring of Honor, so I was not aware of that.
You did for like 2 weeks, and then you very quickly gave
Right,
up and started watching TNA,
right, exactly.
which
TNA
I
is a
totally
lot more
understand.
interesting to me.
Well, at least when TNA is bad, which it is some weeks, at least
Yeah,
you can laugh at it and be like, God damn it, you
sure.
haven't changed a bit, have you, TNA?
Well, you got to understand, I have a high tolerance for a lot of the stuff, even some of the stuff we get on these AEW shows. I developed a high tolerance as a wrestling fan because, believe it or not, I was one of those WCW fans who stuck it out to the bitter end. I mean, right to the bitter, bitter end to the last show. After being let down time after time after time after time, I was
Were you
still
one of the
loyal.
WCW fans that was crying on the last show?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like talking about going out with a whimper, not a bang. You know what I mean?
I would say so. Anyway, uh, this match was fine. It was only 12 and a half minutes. It was bearable.
And believe it or not, the Hurt Syndicate won to everyone's shock, I'm sure.
To everyone's shock and dismay.
Yep.
MJF didn't have a whole lot of involvement here. Surprisingly, he didn't get into a fist fight with MVP, which I almost had as a certainty here. But
Not yet.
they're using MJF to turn the Hurt Syndicate babyface because he's going to turn on them the same way he turns on everybody else.
Yes.
or they're gonna turn on him, whatever. Anyway, we had Speedball Mike Bailey and Kazuchika Okada. This was a 16-minute match that absolutely flew by.
Continental title. It's been a while since we've seen him defend this too.
Yeah, he doesn't do it very often.
Not very often. Well, part of that is really they got so many titles. I mean, they could have title defense matches every single week and nothing but that. They've got so damn many titles. It's ridiculous.
Okada, for everything you can say about his booking, Okada hasn't had a bad singles match.
This was very well done. And Speedball Mike Bailey, I mean, he's pretty impressive. I understand before he came to AEW, he had really established himself as an independent star. I don't pay real close attention to the indies other than what I read.
He was
And
in TNA, he was in Japan for a while. I really like Mike Bailey. This was a very good match. And again, Okada's booking has been terrible, but every time he's had a singles match, he's been fantastic. I mean, the guy is still performing at that New Japan level, and it's crazy because it doesn't look like he's trying as hard. Maybe he just doesn't have to. I don't know. And then we had the third best match on this show, in my opinion, which was Mina Shirakawa and Timeless Tony Storm.
I thought it was good.
This was really good, front to
Never
back.
seen Tony Storm have a bad match. And these two, it was every bit as good as the last time they wrestled, if not better.
Yep,
Very well done. These two really work well together.
they're fantastic. And they did a funny angle at the end where they kissed. This is not the first time these two have kissed. It probably won't be the last.
They like to tease a little bit of that.
Be very careful with what you say next.
What's the right words to say? What they used to, they're teasing a little bit of what they in the old WWF they used to call HLA.
Well, whatever they call it, this was a very good match, and they
It was
stuck to that
excellent.
show at the end. This match was unfortunately only 15 minutes. The next match was 35.
And it felt like it was 2 hours long.
Russ, I need you
Nothing
to let
but
me go on
anarchy
this.
in the arena.
Russ, I need you to let me go on this one, okay?
Yeah, just go because this was a fucking mess. This was a mess.
Folks, if you like my rants, you're in for a treat.
I mean, not even the OPPs could pull this one out.
So it was Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Willow Nightingale, and the Ops against Death Riders and the Young Bucks. This was horrible.
Yeah, and right from the introductions on, it was horrible.
Look, I liked Stadium Stampede a lot. I know you didn't. I did.
Yeah. Well, that was a masterpiece compared to this thing.
What the fuck was this? Look,
Just a whole lot of meaningless, frenetic
fuckery.
activity.
If you liked this type of match, more power to you. But I watched
Yeah,
this and said, oh my God, thank God I live alone because if anybody saw me watching this, I would be mortally embarrassed.
staple gun to the tongue,
Uh-huh.
uh,
Let's see.
thumbtack makers.
Let's go over all the stupid shit they did in this match because we'll honestly, you know what? No, let's list the good things in this match and we'll
Well,
be here
one of the good things was drowning pool. Let the bodies hit the flow.
that went on for way too long.
Yeah, I did, but it was fun. And the Pointer Sisters, they had a little fun with the music.
Um, the next good thing I thought they did was the Shibata putting Claudio in a trash can spot. I thought that was good.
Hmm.
The Samoa Joe and Claudio fighting outside was
Yeah.
incredibly entertaining.
But when they went to the four-way screen, Tony Schiavone makes the understatement of the night. He says, "It's kind of difficult to keep up with it all, isn't it?"
No kidding.
Yeah. How would you like to have to try to call a match like that?
I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't even try.
Taz also said something later on in the match that I thought was very appropriate with, is this ever going to end?
I was feeling the same thing, man.
He said that, and I said, no, Taz, I don't think it is.
Right.
For the record, I watched this show with a couple of my friends who also watch wrestling, and they also didn't like this match.
Yeah. I put it in my notes here. I said, I had something somewhere. I said, this seems to be a very long match.
This match was 35 minutes, 10 seconds. It could have been 20 minutes shorter and been
It could have been a lot more entertaining.
way better.
Yeah.
Anyway, among the stupid shit they did on this match, and I'm not going to list it all because there was so goddamn much of it. The stupidest thing they did was, so Willow Nightingale has her ears pierced, okay?
Yeah.
This was the dumbest fucking spot I've ever seen. What the fuck was this?
This, I cringed when I saw that. I couldn't believe what
Oh
they
my
were
god.
doing. This was
Anyway,
bad.
anyway, they took a padlock and chain and padlocked her ear to the post.
Hmm.
No, I'm not kidding. They padlocked her ear, folks, her earlobe that was pierced to the post of the ring.
Correct.
I saw this and I screamed, what the actual fuck?
It's yeah.
I'm not done. So then, well, actually, before that, we had people jumping from like stairwells, from sections, from elevated tiers of the arena. I thought that was stupid, especially considering this show.
Yeah.
And my overwhelming sense of not care during this match for how many people in this match that I like was insane. I like
Yeah.
almost everybody except the Young Bucks in this match, and this match
Yeah.
is
I
just,
mean, all of these people are good wrestlers, but they could have done better than this.
oh, so more dumb shit spots. There was a double staple gun spot that I thought was really stupid. Uh, the finish was horrible. Basically, the baby faces locked the heels in an ambulance and beat up on the Young Bucks.
Right. Oh, then we also had a couple unscheduled people show up. What's his name? Gabe Kidd. Is that it?
Yeah, I really like Gabe Kidd. This was a
Is
horrible usage of him.
has he been in Ring of Honor before
New
this?
Japan.
New Japan. Okay. Yeah, I'm not real familiar with him. I've heard good things about him. Mark Briscoe showed up too,
Mark Briscoe showed up.
still bloody and bruised from his match.
Oh,
And
we had an electrical table explode, literally.
mhm,
Kenny put one of the Bucks through an electrical table. Neither one of them got up after that, thank God, because if they did, they would have completely ruined the whole spot.
right.
That was dumb, but that would have been a cool spot on like 90% of other AEW shows. But when you consider what this show actually was, this was pointless.
Yeah.
Anyway, the babyfaces won when Swerve hit a, uh, I don't remember what he calls his finish right now, Swerve Stomp or whatever, with the thumbtack shoes. And one, two, three, the
Correct.
babyfaces win, and the crowd went mild.
Yeah. That's another thing too. This match went on so long, and you notice how the crowd kind of just got sucked right out of it.
Russ, I'm going to be honest with you. I paid very little attention to the next match.
You're talking about the trios match with the Don Callis family and
Yes.
Paragon. It was all right. It was a pretty good match, but
It
Don
was a nothing
Callis
burger.
won. No big surprises here.
It was a nothing burger match.
Yeah, with all really, really good wrestlers. Josh Alexander, uh, familiar with him from TNA. He has not really done much on his own yet.
No, they're trying to build him up, even though he's pretty over already. And then we had a fantastic main event. And thank God this match was good. This match arguably saved this entire show.
Yeah, this was the men's final for the Owen Hart Cup, and I knew it was going to be a good match. I have seen Adam Page matches that I didn't think were great, although they're mostly good. I've never seen Will Ospreay have a bad match, so
And
I was
this
expecting
certainly
it to
was
be
not a
good.
bad match by no stretch.
No, this was way above the rest of the card, wasn't it?
This was well and truly above the rest. It went 37 minutes almost on the dot, and it felt like it went 15. That's how good this was. I look, go watch it.
It went about the same length as the Anarchy in the Arena match, but that one felt like it went on for 2 hours. This one was about the same length. It felt like 10 minutes.
That should tell you.
Very well done. Like I said, I'm not storyline wise. I'm not completely sold on Hangman Adam Page's redemption arc. I mean he'll get there, but I thought it was a great match.
This
I
was fantastic.
expected that the final win would go to Will Ospreay.
Me too.
That's what I expected, but I can't say I was real disappointed because it was such a good match.
This was one of those matches where you'd be chanting both those guys if you were in the building. Both
Yeah,
big
but
dudes.
I can't see. I don't know if I wonder if they're going to put the title back on Adam Page and get it off of John Moxley.
You know what I think they're going to do?
What's that?
They're going to fuck Page here.
Yeah,
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. The plan has been Darby Allin for so long. Here's what I think is going to happen. They're going to get 3 weeks down the road and they're going to turn this into a three-way. It's going to be Page, Moxley, and Allin, and Darby will pin Hangman because they refuse to pin John. And Darby will win the title. And Hangman will slip back into the same thing he's been doing for the last however long since he lost it last time.
right.
Unless, unless they change the plan, which I don't think they're going to do.
Yeah. Well, it'll be very interesting to see how they develop this storyline.
Because I think if they were going to take the belt off Moxley at All In with whoever won this tournament,
Well,
Osprey would
what's
have
the word
won.
in the news? Is Darby Allin due to be returning soon?
Supposedly,
Now, has he been off with injury or other
he's
pursuits?
climbing Mount Everest.
Okay, climbing out Mount Everest. So he will either be coming back to AEW or he'll be a chunk of frozen ice up on Everest for all eternity.
I hope he comes back.
I hope he does too. I don't want anybody to die, but an awful lot of people die trying to go up there. He must be
He's
one of them daredevil type fellers.
I'm surprised Tony approved it, but
I wouldn't. Hell, if I was running a wrestling company, I wouldn't want my guys even riding a fucking motorcycle.
you wouldn't
Yeah.
want him driving a car.
No, I'd say no. We've got to protect you, man. You're going to be chauffeured.
You are going to be chauffeured in a padded vehicle.
There you go. Going to protect my damn investment.
I am checking to see if he's finished climbing Everest yet. I don't think he has. Oh, he did summit Everest. He he
You
summited.
are okay, good deal.
Now,
That's quite an achievement for a young man, then, isn't it?
worth noting, he hasn't come back down yet.
Okay. Well, sooner or later, he'll have to come down one way or the other.
Well, he started coming back down because you can't stay up there for more than like 10 minutes, but
Right.
I would never want to.
How would you rate the show overall?
Which one? Let's rate them both. I'd give Saturday night's main event
I'm talking about double or nothing.
double or nothing,
Yeah.
C minus.
Yeah, I think I'd give it a C. It would have scored higher without that energy in the arena.
I'd give both the opening match and the main event an A plus, though.
Yeah. And I think Timeless Tony Storm and Maria Shirakawa, that was very good also.
What would you give Saturday night's main event? Because I'd give that a B minus.
Yeah, I'd get that sounds about right.
C plus B minus. Actually, I'm gonna raise double or nothing up to a C. I thought these two shows were very similar. I think they're pretty much on the same level. I thought both shows were good, not great. I actually thought Double or Nothing was a fine show outside of Anarchy in the Arena. Um, you know, it had its weak points, but I thought Saturday night's main event was lackluster in a lot of ways in its own right. So,
Well,
um,
they're probably gonna try to get some kind of hype over the next one because it's going to be the 40th episode of Saturday Night Main Event.
and also,
It was good to see some of the wrestlers from the past there, like Lalani Kai and good old Tatanka. He's still around. Mike
Russ,
Rotundo.
next week's Dynamite, so the June 4th Dynamite, is a 4 hour show.
Yeah.
God help me.
And why? Well, I
God
know
help
they're
me.
doing something special, but I've already forgot what exactly it was they're doing.
Fighter Fest. So
Fire Fest. Right.
this show's in Denver, okay? I
Right.
have friends who live in and around Denver.
Yep.
There is nobody I know going to this show. I'm friends with a lot of wrestling fans.
Right.
I asked one of my friends if they were going to the AEW show in Denver next week, and they said, "Wait, AEW's in Denver next week?"
Oh man, that's not a good sign. That means they're not really promoting it good. If an average wrestling fan is unaware, that's not a good sign. Not really.
It's
Now, if I lived in Denver, I could probably go to a 4 hour AEW show, but I'd definitely have to visit the dispensary first.
and the energy drink station.
Right. And there you go. Get some gummies and some energy drinks. There you go.
I need about 7 monsters, um,
Right.
which you're going to pay $7 a piece for, because
At
you're adding
least.
room,
Yeah.
because you're
Well,
adding
hell,
room.
even my Mountain Dew now cost, you know, can't afford to buy it in the singles anymore. Damn near $2, $3 for a damn bottle of pop.
Well, that aside, this worth noting, Double or Nothing costs $50. This show was not worth $50.
I don't think, I don't think any pay-per-view is worth $50.
What do you think about the UFC pay-per-views that are 100?
I don't buy them. That's what I think.
Neither do I.
Of course, I wouldn't buy them if they were $50 either. Now, if
I
they were
used
down
to.
around $20, yeah, I might.
I used to buy the UFC pay-per-views. And then the price went up to 76. And that's when I said,
Right.
or 75 or whatever it went up to when it went up from 50.
A little bit too much.
And I said, okay, I guess I just will watch UFC clips online now. I just, I can't, I can't do it with $100 pay-per-views. Oh my gosh. Like I get it. They have a valuable product. I'm not denying that. But
Right.
and those shows aren't cheap.
No, they're not. And also, they might be over with very, very quick. That's the thing about legitimate competition. That match can be over in 15 seconds. And guess what? However much you paid for that ticket, that's it.
And
It's over. Of course, if you go there expecting that, then maybe you're not going to be disappointed. Maybe that would be exciting.
I do have to say, I have been to a UFC show. They do a very good job with the live experience. Like being there live is actually a very good experience. And if you even somewhat like UFC and can afford to go, I encourage you to
Yeah.
go just once.
Yeah.
Because even if it's not a pay-per-view, I went to a fight night card. I didn't even go to a pay-per-view. I went to a fight night card
Oh, yeah.
and it was fun. I went with a buddy. We had a great time. Now, granted, we were both really into UFC at the time,
Right.
but we had fun. I mean, like, it's really fun to go to these shows. It's just, it's almost cheaper to go to these shows sometimes than to buy the pay-per-views if you
That's right.
are okay sitting way, way high up. And half of them are in Las Vegas anyway. So if you live in Las Vegas, well, there you go.
There you go.
Well, Uncle Russ, we're going to be back here a week from Saturday or Sunday or whatever.
Yes.
Um, no, we'll be back here.
We'll be back there once before then.
Yeah.
We'll do
So,
a show before Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide.
right. Are we going to
You
watch
want to
both
cover
those?
Worlds Collide also, since it's going to be on the same day?
We might as well. We'll cover both those shows.
Yeah, because about half of the rest they've announced a few matches for that AAA show. About half of the wrestlers I've never heard of before, and that's to be expected because it's a whole new company. We're going to get ourselves immersed a whole lot more into the old lucha libre culture. All right.
I'm not complaining,
All right. All right.
but that's going to do it for us. We'll be back here next week. Enjoy the wrestling. Have a great week. And
Yes.
Damon, play our music.